It's time to predict the Championship playoffs. Yes, it is that exciting time of the season where 4 teams from the Championship slug it out in arguably the greatest mini tournament in football, leading to the most expensive game apparently in football, which of course will take you to the Premier League in the most dramatic and triumphant way possible. Of course, we'd all like to get automatically promoted. It's fun, it's as the same result, and it's a little bit more carefree, a little bit less tense than the playoffs, but I've been there with Boro multiple times, and the difference in emotions in both the semi-final and the final is ridiculous. You've got complete elation and you've got absolute devastation, and that is what the 4 sides are going to be experiencing one way or the other over the next week or 2. You've got Leeds United, Southampton, West Brom and Norwich City fighting it out, and we're going to be predicting the results today. Now, this is an interesting playoff 4 because arguably we've never had a playoff 4 going into the playoffs in such bad form. Normally there's one side at least that's going in with a degree of momentum and one that really isn't. Last season, unfortunately, I need to use this as an example, not that I want to, but Boro went in with absolutely no momentum whatsoever. We went in, I can't remember how many games we were winless, but then expecting the team to just turn it on for the playoffs like that was always going to be a tough test, whereas Coventry had a bit more momentum, Luton had momentum as well. So you always have to favour clubs that are coming into it off the back of a couple of wins, on a good run. You're seeing it in League 2 at the minute with Doncaster. They're doing exactly that, riding the crest of a wave, and I don't think it matters if you're 3rd, 4th, 5th or 6th. Momentum is key, and yes, 3rd place is more likely to get you up than not. We've seen so many of the 3rd place sides get through the playoffs in recent seasons, but I do not think it will be as straightforward as that, because interestingly, once again, as much as we've got 4 teams that are completely out of form, 3rd place and 6th are separated by 17 points. Now, I don't know where that is in relation to the biggest gap between 2 sides fighting each other in the playoffs, because Leeds have essentially got 90 points, which would guarantee you automatic promotion in most seasons, and they've not gotten there. So it's an interesting one, because on paper you would put Leeds and Southampton in a completely different league to West Brom and Norwich because of the seasons they've had. The top 4 have been so separated for such a long time. West Brom and Norwich have kind of been sat waiting for the playoffs to start themselves in their own little bubble for quite a long time. So you'd say a Leeds-Southampton final, right? I don't think so. So starting off with the first of the playoff semi-finals, and you've got Norwich going up against Leeds United. Now, as I said, the key thing is firstly form. Leeds United have completely fallen off a cliff towards the end of this season, and their only win in 5 was against Boro in a game, as I've mentioned, was won by the linesman. It should have been a draw. Take that out of it, Leeds have lost 3 of the last 5. They look completely shot of confidence right now. But Norwich aren't in great form either. They've only won 1 of their last 5. They did lose on the final day, albeit it was a tricky fixture against Birmingham, who were fighting for their lives at the time. But I don't think this is as straightforward as just a Leeds victory, and a big reason for that is Norwich's home form. Now, there's always a question in the playoffs of whether you'd rather have the second leg at home or not. I'd always probably rather have it at home because you know exactly what result you need and you've got your fans there to back you up. However, Norwich's home form this season is absolutely incredible. They're 5th in the league in terms of home form. They've only lost 4 games all season, and although they're 5th and that might not sound like it's all that special, you've got the likes of Ipswich in there who've only lost once, Leeds who've only lost twice, and West Brom as well have only lost 4 times. So you've got some exceptional sides in there who've been very good at home this season, and Norwich are right up there with them. So you'd have to say you'd fancy Norwich in the first leg, surely. I mean, I fancy them to beat Leeds in the first leg because Leeds are in such a fragile space right now. And another fact is that Leeds have been in the playoffs 5 times in their history. They've never once got promoted. So I fancy Norwich to win the first leg. However, you then flip it on the other side and you go at the second leg. And as I mentioned, Leeds are just as not, if not more of a strong side at home. But by this point, I think the nerves will really set in for Leeds United. I mean, I remember years ago when they played Derby in the playoffs and they managed to somehow lose that dramatic semi-final against Lampard's Derby County. I think they lost 4-3. It was something like that. Right at the end, they managed to somehow bottle a playoff semi-final at home in the second leg. And I just have a feeling it will happen again because Ellen Road is an absolute fortress when things are going well. And when things are going well, Leeds are unstoppable. They're incredible. But when things are going badly, it is one of the most nervy, anxious grounds to play in. The pressure on the players is unlike anything. And that's why I think at the latter end of the season, Leeds have struggled massively, both home and away. Of course, they lost at home to Blackburn. They lost at home to Southampton. So their home form, although it's been good all season, it's not been good towards the back end. In fact, Leeds have lost twice in their last 5, and I believe they might have been their only 2 defeats in the Championship at home all season. I might be right in saying that. They were unbeaten all the way up until that Blackburn defeat. So things could not have timed any worse for Leeds, and I do think Norwich might take a lead back to Ellen Road in the second leg. And I think, as much as it's worth saying Norwich's away record is pretty bad, that's what's let them down massively. Norwich are 19th in terms of the Championship away table. I just have a feeling they'll hang on and they will just about sneak through to the playoff final. And I am boldly predicting Norwich will get past Leeds in the playoff semi-final. It has to be done in the first leg for Norwich, though. If they don't beat Leeds in the first leg and they have nothing to hold on to, then I don't think they'll do it. But if they can do what they do at Carrow Road, win at home against a Leeds side who are conceding goals right now, I think they'll find a way of hanging on in that second leg because the pressure will get to Leeds. And Norwich don't have to win, they just have to draw and maintain their lead. And that's why I'm going to go for Norwich to draw in the second leg and progress to Wembley and upset the apple cart. And Leeds' terrible end of the season will end in a playoff semi-final defeat. The other semi-final is a little bit harder to judge. Southampton and West Brom again, 2 sides, once again, aren't going in with any form. In fact, their last 5 games are completely symmetrical. They've won their last game, they won on the final day, but then they'd lost their previous 3. So this is incredibly tough to predict. And I've always said, if I wanted a manager going into the playoff semi-final, I would want Carlos Corberán. I just feel like he is such an adaptable, flexible coach who can adjust his side at any given moment when the game state requires it. And the playoffs are some of the most erratic sort of games you can get. And I think he will adapt and tweak and get his West Brom side ready for whatever situation they're faced with against Southampton. But I just feel like Southampton might just have too much. Once again, West Brom need to get something from their home leg at the Hawthorns. I think if they get something, then they can maybe go to St Mary's and hang on to something. You've again got 2 very good home teams here. West Brom 4th in the league, Southampton 6th in the Championship for home records. But then alternatively, Southampton are 3rd away from home, whereas West Brom are all the way down in 14th away from home. So 2 strong home sides, but only 1 strong away side, and that's why West Brom have got to do the damage in the first leg. If they don't, then I don't think they'll have much luck trying to rectify the semi-final at St Mary's in the second leg. I'm going to go for a draw in the first leg. I think Southampton will take something away from the Hawthorns, and then when they head back to St Mary's in the second leg, Southampton will finish the job there. And despite having Corberán and despite having an outstanding season, I think Southampton will find their way through. And of course, don't forget they've got confidence off the back of beating Leeds as well. I think that will stand them in good stead, and they will edge past West Brom to set up a Southampton-Norwich final. And then it's the flip of a coin, isn't it, really, in the final? Who turns up? Who's in form? Injuries? So many things can alter what could happen in this incredibly tense, rewarding game. Who do I think will win between Southampton and Norwich? I think Southampton do it. I think they just have the quality. I don't quite know what to expect from a Norwich team on a neutral ground at Wembley in a playoff final. I'm not too sure. Again, neither side are on a good run right now, so it could be one of them where quality prevails in the end. And of course, Norwich have quality in places, Gabriel Sara, Josh Sargent, but I think Southampton have the players who on a big stage will deliver the goods, and I think that's where Southampton will edge out Norwich in the playoff final. And my prediction for the playoff final is that Southampton will edge past Norwich in what will of course be a thrilling, dramatic game as it always is in the playoff final, but Southampton will join Ipswich and Leicester in the Premier League next season. So guys, there's my playoff predictions. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who do you think will win each of the semi-finals? And then obviously, of them two sides, who do you think will win and get themselves promoted at Wembley in that historic game? The most expensive game in football, as they say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit a like on this video and subscribe for much more as always. I can't wait for the playoffs. I absolutely love watching them. It's a lot more enjoyable when you're not in them. Trust me as a Boro fan. But until next time, do take care, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.